So here is our third passage of the particular mock. Now, this is an interesting little passage which talks about how we should treat or perceive failure. So the first paragraph says, when it comes to the USA, when it comes to the American culture, they either believe that it is not failure, just a stepping stone to success, or if it is a failure indeed, then it is the failure of the individual. Okay, so that's the essence of the first paragraph. Thereafter, the next paragraph basically talks about failure getting commodified, and then we have this paragraph which introduces us to two books that take a particular take on failure, and they advise us that the American approach is not right. This is how we should go ahead and look at it, right? So that's basically the next paragraph, and then we focus more on Bradenton's book, In Praise of Failure, where some of the key lessons have been given here, and subsequently in the end we are introduced to some of the characters mentioned in Bradenton's book, Simon Weil, Mohandas Gandhi, and then there are two more characters. Look at this person, dramatis personae. Dramatis personae is characters in a play. So these are essentially characters that are mentioned in that particular book. And he says that they not only failed, but also in some sense they courted defeat. And that's a very curious line. They did so not simply as a form of self-abnegation. So there are times self-abnegation is where you deny certain things to yourself so that others can benefit. A poor father not buying a new pair of shoes so that his son can have a shirt will be an example of self-abnegation and self-annihilation, but also to consider how failure defines us. So that's basically the passage, and here are the questions. So question number 9. Based on the passage, which one of the following would be the American culture's response to failure? So the American culture's response to failure has been mentioned in and addressed in the first paragraph. So let us see. Utilize failure as a tool to get rid of arrogance and vanity. Hey, this is something that has been recommended by those two books that have been mentioned in the third paragraph onwards. It is not something that has been given as an American culture's response. Remember, their response is stepping stone to success. Okay, it's not failure. Or if it is failure, it is a person's failure. So B, view failure as a means to success and try to succeed. That's consistent with the American culture. Learn life's meaning through failures and mistakes. No, once again, this is given in the context of those two books that advocate an alternate view. And then D, discover and define oneself through failure, Bradenton's book, and not the American culture. So A, C, and D are all mentioned in the context of those two books. B is given in the first paragraph as a response of the American culture, and therefore our answer to question number 9 should be option B. With that, let's dive into our next question. Question number 10. Which one of the following statements does not correctly express the similarity between Bradenton's book and Sarah Marcus's book? So the question itself tells us that 3 of these options talk about the similarities, and then there is this one option which does not talk about the similarity, or maybe talks about even the difference. So there is a particular paragraph where these two books have been mentioned. Here is that paragraph. Now look at these similarities mentioned here. Mourn failure as genuine loss. So mourn failure as genuine loss is essentially A. So this is given as a similarity. Okay. B says both believe failure may offer some value for our lives. Is it given there? Yes. That's B right there. So that's A. That's B. Then there is another part that I've highlighted for you. They raise the question of how we might fail well. So how can we fail well? Or in other ways, both focus on the best way to treat failure. Okay, best is perhaps extreme, but they definitely focus on how we can fail well. What can be a good way? And once you look for, or once you start walking down on that path, you eventually reach the best. Okay, D, both advocate therapeutic awakening through failure. Here is that paragraph. nowhere does the paragraph talk about therapeutic awakening. There is a next paragraph which talks about falling to be awake, but then even there we are not talking about therapeutic awareness and therapeutic awakening. So as we can see, A, B and C are, A and B are definitely mentioned, C is kind of mentioned, D has not been dealt with or discussed about at all in the concerning paragraph, and therefore our answer to question number 10 should be option D. So there you go. This does not correctly express the similarity. Here comes the next one. Question number 11. Which one of the following scenarios is unlikely to follow from the arguments in the passage? So this is in a sense an inference based question. Some of these are true. One of these is can't say or false, and that is going to be our answer. So let us check. How about A? A person steeped in American culture is disdainful of failure. True or false? Let me take you to the relevant paragraph. See, the very first paragraph mentions disdainful of failure, and therefore on the basis of this I can say that option A is true. Okay, how about B? A person who believes in American culture would try to overcome all challenges when confronted with failure. Let's see. So there are these multiple locations where we have mentioned things like failure is in fact a mere stepping stone to success. So if you failed, what do? You move ahead. Look at this quote, there is no failure that willpower cannot turn into success. So what do? You use your willpower to move towards success. In fact, even this one, failure is success in progress. All of these essentially point out towards B being the right attitude according to the American culture. So B is also true. Then C, no American dramatist persona willingly courted failure and defeat. So the last paragraph tells us that there were some non-American characters mentioned in a book who courted failure. Now, was there any American who did that? We don't know. Non-Americans definitely did that. Was there any American who did that? We don't know. So C should be can't say. Okay, so A true, B true, C is can't say. We've reached this far. Okay, how about D? Many famous people cited by Bradenton used failure to understand the meaning of their lives. Let's see. Last paragraph, I've highlighted a line for you. Who saw failure as necessary for making their lives meaning legible to themselves. So D is also true. So if I look at our final labels, A, B and D are true. C is can't say. So which one is unlikely to follow? The one which is not true, and therefore our answer to question number 11 should be option C. And that takes us to the last question based on this particular passage. Question number 12. The American obsession for success has resulted in all of the following except. So you just simply need to refer to the first paragraph. The first paragraph mentions intolerance of failure, blaming losers for losing, perceiving failure as a passing phase. All the three have been mentioned as a result of the American attitude or obsession with for success. A has not been mentioned as part of the American obsession. It is mentioned elsewhere as an alternate viewpoint propagated by two authors in their respective books. And therefore, when it comes to question number 12, our answer should be option A, and that takes care of our third passage of the mock.